Hello and welcome to Galaxy TV News. My name is Ribami Salako. We begin with headlines. Vice President Kashim Shettima arrives in Sweden for a two-day working visit aimed at boosting trade and bilateral relations. Plus on the news, a CNG-powered vehicle exploded in Edo State, which left 3 people severely injured. From the international scene, Britain announces its largest sanction to date against Russia's shadow fleet of tankers used to circumvent a Western embargo on oil export following its invasion of Ukraine. Details of these and more coming your way soon. Do stay with us. Many thanks for joining us at this time. Now details of the news. Vice President Kashim Shettima has arrived in Sweden for a two-day working visit aimed at boosting trade and bilateral relations between both nations. The Vice President, accompanied by the Plateau State Governor Caleb Mutfwang, Minister of Foreign Affairs Ambassador Yusuf Tugar, and some heads of government agencies and parastatals. Stanley Nkocha, Senior Special Assistant to the President on Media and Communications, Office of the Vice President, in a statement on Thursday said the visit, which is at the behest of President Bola Tinubu, will see the Vice President engage in high-level talks with key government officials. He is also slated to meet with Crown Princess Victoria of Sweden and the Swedish Prime Minister. Nkocha explained that targeted areas of strengthened collaboration between Nigeria and Sweden that will be pursued by the Vice President include ICT, digitization, education, sustainable transport, agriculture and mining. He said the Vice President is expected back in the country on Saturday. The federal government has reaffirmed its commitment to technical and vocational education and training in Nigeria. The Minister of Education, Professor Tahir Mamman, who gave the assurance in Abuja while speaking at the annual sensitization meeting of Technical Teachers and Training Program (TTTP), said technical teachers are the bedrock of educational system in any society. Correspondent Kaleojo reports that the minister identified apathy, inability to review curriculum within the required time frame, lack of equipment and obsolete equipment usage of curricula that is supply-driven instead of demand-driven, low enrollment of girl child among others as the bane of technical and vocational education and training in the country. Earlier in their remarks, the Director of Technology and Science Education, Dr. Lodo, Permanent Secretary, Ministry of Education, Dr. Nasir Gwazo, and Assistant Director of Technical Assistance Division, Department of Technology and Science Education, Balogun Bamidele, stressed the need to equip technical teachers across the country for them to be able to impart required knowledge and skills in their students. The event was attended by stakeholders in the education sector. And also on that topic, we are joined by Honorable Lanre Okunla, lawmaker representing Surulere 2, Lagos State. Good evening and thank you so much for joining us on Galaxy TV News.
Good evening, Toby. How are you?
Fine, thank you. So what's your overview looking at the development since 15 technical skills have been approved?
For any nation, education is the bedrock of our society, and it's imperative for us to be progressive in that line. You know, skill acquisition from childhood would foster for us a new kind of development for our young ones to make them self-sufficient and self-independent, and it's the route to go. In the view of the dynamics in the global space, where you find out that technology is the route in which development is being taken globally, we should look at it as a way of enhancing our children. From childhood, they should be able to learn certain skills that where their interest lies. I'll share an experience that I had in my own constituency while interfacing with our people. And a young man who approached me, and I asked him where his interest lies, and he was saying that, well, he knows how to play the guitar, he knows how to sing and all that. I can imagine if he had that skill built from the primary level where he would have enhanced that big industrial space, So it's the route to go. And I know that there will be challenges, but these challenges, we can look at it in terms of legislation, how we can use legislation to enhance educational reform.
In terms of legislation, do you think we actually need a law to establish such schools, or is government right to make such pronouncements without legislative backing, or is it something that is still going to be worked upon?
Government and governance is continual, and an ability to come together in fashioning out what is best for us, in terms of what kind of policies can we put in place so that the growth of the country is eminent, in terms of making sure that at that very young age, at that cradle age, we're training them to be future leaders and they can enhance development. Now, in terms of legislation, we would look at our curriculums and look at things that we can quickly start enacting such that it would be seamless for them in terms of providing the necessary tools, the necessary funding for technical education. And that's the route to go.
Okay, all right. So do you think we have the right policies and teaching staffs to scale through this, knowing that learning technical skills is quite capital intensive?
No, but you don't forget that the dynamics such that with artificial intelligence in play now, the global space is quite dynamic. That in terms of making sure that we train the necessary manpower in making sure that these policies are put in place. That is for us to do, and that is also in line with the President's Renew Hope agenda. The President is so vehement in noting that education should be a tool for us for development, for the growth of the country. And everything that is required, we as legislators will make sure that we'll put our heads together and find the right policies to drive education in the right perspective for this country.
All right, we thank you so much for taking time to join us on our news at this time. All right, that's Honorable Larry Okonla, lawmaker representing Surulere 2, Lagos State. And now moving on to other stories. A CNG-powered vehicle exploded at the NIPCO filling station in Aduwawa, Benin, Edo State, that left 3 people severely injured, including a motorist who suffered eye injuries. An attendant at the station who requested anonymity told newsmen on Thursday that 2 others, a woman whose stomach was ripped open and another person whose foot was amputated due to the blast, are also receiving treatment at the University of Benin Teaching Hospital, Ubowo. According to the source, the explosion was traced to a cylinder that had been fabricated by a welder without proper approval. The welder has reportedly turned himself into the police. While visiting the scene, a technician was seen inspecting cylinders before vehicles were allowed to refuel. Attempts to speak with the station manager were unsuccessful as he declined to comment, stating that he had no authority to speak on the incident. However, the public relations officer of UBTH, Joshua Uwaila, confirmed that he had spoken with the man with the eye injury, who was reported to be in stable conditions. In a statement on X, the Presidential CNG Initiative also confirmed the incident and expressed sympathy for those injured. A federal high court in Abuja on Thursday adjourned the $2 billion fundamental rights enforcement suit filed by former caretaker chairman Southern Ijaw local government of Bayelsa, Lucky Okode, on November 28. Justice Binta Nyako adjourned the case following an oral application by Okode's counsel to enable her to respond to a counter-affidavit filed by Mimi Ayua, lawyer to the Chief of Defense General Christopher Musa. It was reported that Ogde in the suit dated and filed on May 3rd by Femi Falana Sad had sued the CDS, Musa and Chief of Army Staff Taurid Lagbaja as first and second respondent. The applicant is accusing the defendants of allegedly publishing his photograph among those wanted in connection to the killing of 17 soldiers in Okwama in Delta State. He therefore prayed the court to award $2 billion in damages against the respondent for the alleged violation of his right to personal liberty and dignity. The applicant also prayed the court to set aside his declaration and award the fine as compensation for damages suffered over the action of the defense headquarters, Abuja. A High Court of the Federal Capital Territory sitting at Mitab on Thursday adjourned further hearing on the leadership crisis rocking the staff of the Nigerian National Petroleum Company Limited, their staff cooperative society, till November 8. Justice Charles Agbaza held that the court ruled on the next date equally hear a motion that 15 staff members of the NNPCL who are defendants in the matter filed to disqualify him from presiding over the case. The defendants, through their team of lawyers led by Ibrahim Idris Sad, is asking the judge to recuse himself, insisting they were not comfortable in his ability to resolve the leadership dispute objectively. They alleged that some of the interim orders the judge made in the matter reflected his bias against them. The defendant, on whose behalf the instant application was brought, declared that they have no total or complete faith and confidence in the ability of the presiding judge in this matter to continue to entertain the suit and serve justice without bias. According to the defendants, the fulcrum of the substantive suit particularly revolves around whether the tenure of the management committee led by Ogunbayo, which had been removed from the Congress of Association as a then, was subsisting. Justice Agbaza, who acknowledged receipt of the motion, adjourned to hear all the pending applications in the matter. You're still on to the news on Galaxy TV. Let's go on a break. When we come back, the news continues. We are glad to have you back. Now for more updates and latest news, please visit our website www.galaxytvonline.com. Connect with us on our X handle at Galaxy TV. Subscribe to our YouTube channel, youtube.com/Galaxy TV News. You can follow and interact with us on our Facebook page, facebook.com/Galaxy TV. Remember to follow and tag us on our Instagram page as Galaxy TV. Our social media platforms are user-friendly and can always accommodate your live updates and comment, as you can easily scan our IG QR code. A tripartite partnership between the National Drug Law Enforcement Agency NDLEA, Adamawa State Government and Keke Riders aimed at mitigating the menace of drug abuse has kicked off in Adamawa State. A mass rally at Capital School in Yola, which was attended by secondary school students drawn from various schools in the state and other critical stakeholders, raised awareness about the dangers of substance abuse. The NDLEA chairman, Brigadier General Buba Marwa, retired, represented by the State Commandant Femi Agbola, praised the Keke Riders for their commitment and passion in addressing drug abuse menace among young people. He highlighted the importance of community-driven movement in combating the menace. Representative of Adamawa State Government, Garba Pella, Commissioner of Education and Human Capital Development, reiterated his unwavering support for the bold move initiated by the Keke Riders, saying it will go a long way in securing the future of young minds.
Let me make it abundantly clear to you. Drug abuse is not a path you want to walk. It's not a path you want to tread. It promises quick relief. But let me take tramadol. Let me take cannabis sativa just for experimentation. It's not a path to tread at all.
Dear students, I believe so much has been said about the menace of drug abuse. And I believe you are not leaving this place today without a resolution that you will never partake in drug abuse.
Two suspects have been arrested by the Joint Task Force operatives of the 6th Division Nigerian Army at Idogwa Creeks in Rivers State. The suspects were arrested after vandalizing pipelines and siphoned crude oil from oil wells into wooden boats, popularly known as Kutino boats, before the Joint Task Force swooped on them in the line of duty. The siphoned crude oil, which were also packed in sacks to deceive security operatives, was recovered in the remote creeks as well as tanks used by the oil thieves for their illegal activities. Meanwhile, 2 petroleum tankers stationed to lift stolen crude oil was also seized by the Nigerian Army-led Joint Task Force as manhunt for other suspects who absconded during the operation continues. The Ogun State government has announced that it will deploy over 5,000 health personnel to various areas of the state for its 2024 measles campaign. The Commissioner for Health, Dr. Tomi Koka, while noting that immunization is free, urged parents and caregivers to take advantage of the initiative by taking their children to designated centers across 236 wards of the state. The Commissioner made this known at a press conference on the state's implementation of 2024 Integrated Measles Campaign on Thursday in Abeokuta, the Ogun State capital. She disclosed that the 7-day exercise would run from Saturday, October 19 to Friday, October 25. She added that the measles campaign is targeting approximately 1,136,953 children between 9 months and 59 months.
Medium to call on all parents, guardians, and caregivers to take advantage of this campaign and the investment of the government in our children across our 236 wards in our 20 local government areas to ensure that their children get vaccinated against this highly contagious killer disease, which is preventable.
Speaking further, Dr. Koka explained that measles vaccination are essential because unvaccinated children run the risk of developing blindness, brain damage, and a high fever that can cause seizures and deformity.
Not immunize your child against measles. You run the risk of your child becoming blind. You run the risk of your child having brain damage, what we convulsive febrile illness, high fever that leads to the child having seizures and can be completely disabled for the rest of their lives. This is different from HPV. HPV is to protect against a virus, but when the virus infects the body, the changes are not obvious to the natural eye, but it causes damage to cells that eventually leads to cancer.
Now, we move to the international desk for more news.
Hello and welcome to the foreign news.
Britain Thursday announced its largest sanctions to date against Russia's shadow fleet of tankers used to circumvent a Western embargo on oil export following its invasion of Ukraine. The government's latest crackdown bars 18 ships from UK port and from accessing British maritime services, bringing the total number of sanctioned vessels to 43. Experts say the so-called Ghost Fleet, which operates under opaque ownership or without proper insurance, has allowed the Kremlin to continue exporting oil despite sanctions and a price cap on its global sales. The shadow fleet have also been accused by the UK of posing a threat to the environment and coastlines due to its flagrant violations of basic safety standards. However, a report this week by the Kyiv School of Economics found that the volume of Russian oil exported via shadow tankers had nearly doubled to 4.1 million barrels a day in the year to June 2024. Despite Western sanctions, 70% of Russian oil exports by sea are conducted using ghost tankers, according to report. The ships targeted in the new UK sanctions package include some owned by